Now at this point I'm going to show you how to do a rolled hem. So a rolled hem is a 3-thread stitch, and remember from before when we did a 3-thread overlock, we actually already took our needle out. Okay, so we take our left needle out, and I pop that in there for safekeeping. And if we look at our stitch directory, we'll find that the rolled hem is actually stitch number 12. Okay, so our tension should be set at C. And if you notice on our thread directory, it shows that we take out the blue thread, which is our left needle. Okay, so let's set our tension on C. And we have our left needle out. And another thing we need to do is slide our switch or stitch finger to R for rolled hem. So N being normal sewing, R being rolled hem. Alright, now another thing we need to do is to actually reduce our stitch length a little smaller to perhaps 1.5. Okay, so between 1 and 2 will give you a good stitch length. And some people also like to reduce their cutting width. So you might like to put that on 6 millimeters or 5.5 depending on your fabric. I never like to go any lower than that. Okay, now this rolled hem is designed for soft fabrics. Okay, so this is a georgette, much like this is on the finished garment. So you might like to use it to finish off a scarf or a skirt. So this has many layers of rolled hem here. One for the lining and one for the actual dress. You can use a different thread. So if you do want to put some decorative thread on your overlocker to do rolled hemming, you can choose your polyester embroidery thread or rayon thread, and this is a beautiful fine thread. And if you do change a thread, you simply change this one. Okay, and I'll do this for you now. This is the upper looper, so just trim that thread there. Put your new thread on. Now, some threads don't fit with the cone stand on there, so just remove your cone stand. Pop your new thread on and tie that to the end of your older thread, and just tie a knot, taking it around your fingers, and slip that through. Okay, now there's no need to neaten that because of the way we rethread this. So with your needle in the highest position, just cut the needle thread there, raise your presser foot, and you can pull both of them through, but there's no need if you just separate and find which one has your knot, and you'll see that coming through. Whoops, what have I done here? Okay, and just follow that through. Hang on, I've got caught somewhere. There we go. Okay, here comes our knot through here. There we go. We've just rethreaded that without too much trouble, and just rethread your needle at the end and bring those 3 threads to the side, and that will now be ready to chain. So if you like, you can actually make a chain. go. There's your new rolled hem chain. Now that is also, if you would like to make some decorative looping or chain, you can just run that smoothly off and it makes a chain. Alright, now let's start by doing a rolled hem on this fabric.
Yes.
Now if you were going to overlock around this, pretend it's a scarf. I've just got a miniature scarf here. Whenever you start, don't start on the corner, okay? Start somewhere in the middle of one of the sides. And by doing that, you can easily overlap it and you won't see the join. Now, I do that by placing my needle in the highest position, lifting my presser foot up, and just placing the fabric, holding onto the chain. Place your fabric in underneath the foot in the position that you want to start, and lining the edge of your fabric up with the side of your blade. So you're not going to trim as such, you just laid it flat and start overlocking. Being sure to trim a little bit as you go, not too much. Now before you reach the corner, just stop with your needle in the highest position. Okay. Raise the presser foot, just pull it back slightly and turn at a right angle. Bring your presser foot down, not too far forward, so that your first stitch is actually in the fabric, and overlock away from the corner to your next corner. Be sure not to run off, so go slowly, and before you run out of fabric, just lift your foot up, pull your fabric to the back slightly, turn your fabric 90 degrees, put your presser foot down, and so there we have a corner. Oops. Now we're at our last corner. Just turn it at right angles. And just now to link it up with where you started, we might just trim that end off. That's only going to cause us a problem if we leave it there, and just stay in the direct line. Now at this point you can actually just be careful that you don't trim the end of that again, or this is a little tip that I have. You can open the door and disengage your blade by pulling it out towards you and turning it 180 degrees. Close your door again. That way you don't have to worry about the blade trimming off your stitching. And just overlap that for about 1 centimetre to 1.5 centimetres. Stop with your needle in the highest position. Lift your foot up and just take the fabric from underneath the foot so that it's at the back of your foot, and make a chain off the fabric. like so. Now, you can't really get rid of that chain, but you can just snip it off, and because you've overlapped it, that won't unravel. There you go, you've gone around a complete square. Now we're going to convert from a 3-thread rolled hem to a 5-thread. This machine's a 5-thread overlocker, so it can perform a 5-thread seam. You normally see this inside your jeans, so you can actually sew woven fabrics with this 5-thread seam, and it will do the seam and overlock at the same time. So it's very quick to make a garment. And in our stitch directory, you'll notice that this is the first 2 stitches. So number 1 and number 2 are both 5-thread. It just depends where you set your needle for a wide overlock or a narrow. So because we've just done a rolled hem, I'll actually set it up for stitch number 2, which is the needle in the narrow position. So let's set our machine up to do a 5-thread chain with a chain stitch, and that's back to stitch tension number A. Okay, so we'll take our needle that we took out before, and we'll place this in the front position to perform our chain stitch. And we place this in position number D. Sorry, I'll just grab that. Now, I might have to come up here, and so that's this. If in those first 3 screws, it's the middle one. And if we undo our screw, sorry, you'll notice that the needle's in the highest position. You actually see the top of the needle there in the chamber, and just tighten that screw. So we actually have it here at the front. So if you're looking at your foot, it's in the middle hole. And we take our thread, which we severed before, which is the blue one, and thread that front needle. There we go. Now remember, we have to convert everything back to normal. So slide that switch back to normal. Let's change our stitch width again back to 6.5. We've got the stitch length now set, which was set at 1.5 before for rolled hem. We'll now set it back to 2.5. And let's shut that door. Oh, we do have to take this thread out. So I will replace that again with my overlocker thread. Okay, now for the extra chain stitch, I like to use normal sewing machine thread because this is stronger than our overlocking thread. Okay, and we're not just finishing off the edge of the seams, we're actually creating a seam. Okay, so I put normal thread on the chain looper, which is the last thread on our overlocker, and it is also purple. So taking your thread through the tension dial, through our first one down here, and just follow all the purple dots. Now this one's quite clear, and it's the one that's at the front. Now with this one, you take it under the spring, bring it back up, and see how it catches that spring there. So don't miss that one at all. There is another thread guide inside there, and then this is our purple looper or chain looper. Oh, did I pull that out? Just get that one again. There we go. So taking the end of the thread, pass that through the eye of the chain looper. And now with this one, it has got a threader. Oops, what happened there? Okay. Oh, I had it right. I just pulled it out. Okay, so hold on to that thread in your left hand and just pick that looper threader up and all the way, and that will thread the back of the looper for you. And this one you just leave in the cavity of your overlocker. So don't bring that one up to the top. And I also like to re-thread my needle. So I'm going to take this one off completely. So not even join it back with that one. It is easier to thread it from scratch. Remember to take the cone stand off. And with these flat reels, you are supplied with these little thread discs, and these sit on top of your new threads. Hang on, have I got this around the wrong way? Yep, like so. And the reason for that is because they have vertical sides, not cone shaped. It does prevent drag on the side of your threads, which adds to the tension. So it's a good idea to put those on. Oops, just make sure you don't get that caught. Okay. Under the button. And this one is going to thread through the blue tension guides into that front needle. Okay. And I might actually use my purpose built needle threader because it is easier. There we go. So you're now ready to start a chain stitch. And when you do start a chain stitch, you do have to start overlocking directly on the fabric. And one thing, always bring your needle, your blade back up after disengaging it, because you can cause yourself some grief. Okay, ready? Now it takes a while to get started, but once it's started, it will start chaining. So that's your scrap, remember? There you go. So you've created a 5-thread seam by way of straight stitch, chain stitch, and overlocking, all in one go. So once you've done your test piece, you can go onto your garment. So I've got this piece ready as if it were a trouser leg or a sleeve, and you can overlock onto that. And there you go. That's your chain and overlock all in one go.